Impact Academy of Arts and Technology is a public charter school in Hayward, California, serving 6th through 12th grade students. It is dedicated to transforming students' lives by preparing them for success, college and life. Impact Academy offers students a rigorous academic experience and a diverse, compassionate community in which to grow. Our students are inspired and empowered to be leaders in their high school education and in their communities. Impact Academy centers learning around core values of respect, agency, joy, growth, and community. The graduates are lifelong learners who practice, reflect upon, and defend our graduate profile skills of collectivism, criticality, knowledge, love of self and land, self determination, leadership, and critical thinking. Impact prides itself on rigorous experiences such as work learning experiences, exhibitions, and defenses, in which our students publicly demonstrate their knowledge and skills and stakeholders. The school community holds a strong community to serve Black, Latinx, and other marginalized communities while continuously improving systems and structures to ensure that they are anti-racist and pro-Black. We are so grateful that Selena, you guys want to raise your hand? Wait. Selena, Devin, Madeline, Julian, Miranda, Emma, and their teachers, Aaron and Shruti, are here today to share their powerful personal PBL journeys with us. As they come to the stage, I would like to invite Aaron Bravo and Shruti Patel to introduce the 2024 student panel.
I'm going to start by introducing our students, who I think are quite nervous. So please give them a big round of applause. I'll first introduce Selena Khan. Selena, can you wave? Selena is a Fijian-American 14-year-old from Hayward, California. She is currently a 9th grade student athlete attending Impact Academy of Arts and Technology. Selena is a very talkative and optimistic person. She has many interests and hobbies, as well as having her own small business. She is very family-oriented and has high hopes and dreams for her future. She hopes to get a job in the law or medical field because she aspires to help people to the best of her ability. Next up is Devin Pegorito. Devin is a Filipino 15-year-old boy from Hayward. He is a 9th grade student attending Impact Academy High School. Devin is very interested in cars, basketball, and enjoys making people happy, and he is a very outgoing person. In the future, he is not very sure what he wants to be, but he would most likely join the trades or try his best to become a civil engineer. Since he has families in those jobs, he finds it easier to learn from his family members, and one of those family members is his dad, and he looks up to his dad a lot. And last up is Madeline Torres. Madeline is a Mexican 15-year-old young woman from Hayward. She is currently a 9th grade student at Impact Academy and loves to participate in school activities. She's a student athlete who enjoys playing soccer. We did just win the championships this year, so that's a big deal. She's also very interested in traveling and hopes to travel to Spain in her future. Her family is very important to her, and she hopes to make them proud by playing professional soccer in her future. And I'll now turn it over to Shruti Patel, who will introduce our 8th graders.
Hello. So first up is Christine Kurse, who was born in Clarksville, Tennessee, and has moved around a lot in her short life. She and her family have lived all over Tennessee, and at the age of 12, moved to California. While starting a new life here, she saw a whole new side of who she is and who she wants to become. She hopes that she can change the way people think and strongly believes that starts with changing the ratio. She hopes to become part of the 4.3% female firefighters and hopes to make a big difference for women all around the world. Next is Miranda Baez Ochoa, just finished 8th grade at IAMG. A daughter of 2 immigrants from Mexico, she's a Chicana who loves to learn, speak about injustice injustice that is happening in our country. With the help of her teachers, she says she has learned she found her voice and speaks out for those who can't defend themselves. Her goal is to make her parents proud, who came to this country with nothing and gave her everything she needed. Miranda dreams of being part of the 5.4% Latinas in nursing, para demostrar que sí se puede. Next, we have Emma Maldonado, originally from Inglewood, California, and comes from Mexican descent. She moved to the Bay Area when she was 5 years old. Since then, she lives with her family of 3 and her dog in Hayward, California. Emma is looking forward to finishing middle school, and although she's a bit nervous, she's very excited and curious for 9th grade. This school year, Emma has found the power of her voice and is not afraid to express her opinions without worries of what others think. She values her friends, teachers, family, and music. Outside of school, she loves crocheting, sketching, playing volleyball, and playing with her dog.
Okay, so let's hear from the students. Our first question is, how has your relationship with learning changed while you've been a student at Impact? Share a story of how a project has changed the way you understand yourself, your identity, or the world around you.
So I would say my relationship changed in learning because as through elementary and the first few grades of middle school, the only thing I thought of school was, oh, I don't need to learn. I just, by the end of the year, need to get the grades I need to pass. So I wasn't really into it, like learning-wise, I was into it just to get the grades. But when I started Miss Patel's class in 8th grade, she told me and showed me that there could be a different side to learning that's actually interesting. And that's when I kind of started my love of learning, actually learning instead of just doing the work. Then when I made my way to Miss Aaron's class, she shared the same ideas as Miss Patel, which also intrigued me more because I would say that they both taught me how to be a learner more than just being a student. Especially in Miss Aaron's class, we had a project where we had to make podcasts expressing challenges and problems for a certain group of people. And my group members weren't the best, but Miss Aaron helped me in collectivism by actually, instead of getting upset when they don't do the work, actually help them understand and learn how to do the work so they learn to do it themselves instead of me just doing it for them.
My relationship with learning has changed in many ways because this year when I started Miss Patel's class, I used to be really careless of what was happening in our world. I just knew like the close things, like, oh, this is happening in our city or this is happening, but I was careless because I didn't think it had like importance because it didn't affect me, so it was really, I didn't care. But in Miss Patel's class, I learned that everything that's happening will affect our future and eventually it'll get to us. For example, in Miss Patel's class, we learned in the Boston Massacre that our history lies to us in many ways. So I've learned to care for it and speak out about things that our country does because even though I used to be careless, now that I'm in Miss Patel's class, I was in Miss Patel's class, I've learned that it's important to learn and you could speak out about it for others who can't.
How do you think PBL and your work with projects will affect you as you move into your future? What skills do you think you will use in your future?
So going into high school, I feel that project-based learning will only affect me positively. I know that being in a PBL classroom has given me many skills such as collaboration and communication skills, and PBL allowed me to be collectively creative and share my ideas. I believe that throwing facts at kids, they won't care and they won't remember what you said. Another lifelong skill I learned from a PBL classroom was long-term retention. I remember things that I've learned, which is important to me because I used to forget everything that I learned, and it made me feel as if I was lesser than the other kids. But now that I've been in a PBL classroom, I can remember what I've learned.
So as I've told you guys before, I used to hate group work. I'm still a little iffy about it, but but project-based learning has definitely improved it because when you're doing projects, instead of just reading a book, you're communicating with others, you're communicating with your peers. Especially, we had a project where I had to make a whole presentation to my vice principal explaining why we should add this thing to our school. That was really scary because why would they listen to me? But I learned how to communicate my ideas that can also convince other people to listen to me and listen to what I think is important, and so it becomes important to them too. And I think these skills will help me in the future because in the future, I don't want to be someone who just gets looked over. I want to be someone who gets to speak my opinions and get my opinions heard. So I think the communication skills I've got from project-based learning will help me in my future career.
When we were practicing like half hour ago, they acted like they weren't gonna talk and didn't know what to say. What do you think it takes for a student to be successful in a PBL class?
I think that in order for a student to be successful in a PBL class, it takes lots of things, but some of the main points are that first, they need the ability to work really well with others in like a team or in group, since lots of the project-based learning is with groups. And also, I think that they need good communication and collaboration skills, and along with that, it also takes good time management skills and organization skills, and it also is important for students to have a good sense of critical thinking or problem solving skills as they will use them when it comes to breaking down concepts or explaining their thinking. And also, students need to be willing to take initiative and be proactive in their learning, as well as being open-minded and curious and willing to explore new ideas or perspectives. And I also believe that it takes students that shouldn't be afraid to share their thoughts or opinions, and they also shouldn't be afraid to ask questions or seek for support when they need it. And lastly, in order to be successful, I just think that students should make sure to show and demonstrate lots of effort, creativity, and just engage fully in all projects.
To be successful in a PBL class, I think that a student needs to not be scared to experience the project, because if you don't want to experience the project and try to do the project, you're not going to really do anything. It's going to feel like you're forced to do something. But if you really try to understand it, then it's fun and you actually are learning in school.
Think about a time a project was really difficult for you. What was it that helped you push through?
A project that was really difficult for me was exhibition. Exhibition is a project where you have to research and speak about a situation going on in our country and something you want to fix. And I did immigration, and since it was a project, I did it with 2 students because I felt bad. And they weren't cooperative at all. And it was really hard to work with them because, like Selena said, I don't like to work with people. I like things done my way. And it was really hard for me. But something that helped me push through was like our teachers' support, and like I would get mad, but our teachers, they would help me and they would support me to push them to also cooperate, because in the project, it's not only just the researching, you also have to present it in front of a crowd of people that, well, you don't know. Like, now. And so it was really hard. And after that project, now I'm more like I could speak in front of more people, but before it was really hard. And well, it was mostly just support and like to make sure you feel like people are there, because even if it's a new experience for your students, it'll eventually help them in their future because they'll learn how to do things that they didn't know how to do before.
A project that was really difficult for me was a Y part project, which was we had to read books. If you know me, I hate reading books. I cannot, and it was like it was like the worst thing ever. But I kind of, but I felt like in the beginning I felt like I was forced to kind of read or like do something I don't want to do. But then something that helped me a lot was I had this Spotify audiobook, which kind of reads it for you and you just follow along. And we had an option where we can listen to it individually or in a group. And what helped me the most is collectively do it as a group, because it helps me focus more, because I get very distracted very easily, especially with reading. And I feel like the teacher's giving us the option for us to communicate with our group or individually. It kind of gives us more like freedom to kind of pick how we're more comfortable. And I feel like if we keep doing this, it's more like we feel more support from our teachers and not just kind of what they want us to do all the time.
Think about the teachers that you have learned the most from. What happens in that classroom that helps you learn?
The teachers that help me learn most are the teachers that push me the most. Cause, to be honest, in most classes, I don't really try that hard. but the teachers, when I do learn though, it's from the teachers, cause the teachers are the ones really like pushing me through, cause they think that I really can do it when myself I don't think I can. And they help me learn because they're the ones that motivate me the most.
Yeah, and I would say that mostly it's in the classrooms where the teachers are the most passionate about like what they're actually teaching, because if they're not really like into whatever they're teaching, it's not really gonna like it's not gonna like give a good example, I guess, for the students. And also, it's when the teachers, I feel like when they're most effectively able to communicate like complex concepts or like the curriculum, because lots of the time, if it's too difficult for the students to understand, these teachers will like always reword things or make it easier, and that's what helps us learn more. Also, when they encourage lots of active participation and when they provide lots of feedback for students. And also, if they have like fun group activities or class games, I feel like that's what helps me learn more, because it's more fun and I'm actually more into it. And like simulation games that can actually connect to the curriculum, because instead of having us take notes all the time, we can play a fun game, and that's what helps me learn more.
You have an audience full of teachers here that are really interested in PBL. What advice would you give teachers as they think about bringing projects into their classrooms?
I would say have a lot of patience. There's gonna be a lot of kids who like just mess around, like Devin right here. But you will sooner or later you will miss it. But an advice I would give would just be try to get everyone to participate. Like in the beginning, it may be difficult even if the student doesn't want to participate, and it will be really difficult. But sooner or later, they will appreciate it, because I was in that position once. I hated school a lot, but then when I got to Miss Patel, she actually encouraged me to keep going, because she showed us like a different side to learning, I guess.
So I'd like to reiterate what she said, have a lot of patience, because I know that there's a teacher there are teachers who get like really mad at their kids when they misbehave, but all they need is just a teacher who's going to be there for them and understand why they're acting out and help them in a certain way. And I would say that you should take into consideration each kid that you have, learn their personalities and learn who they are, because if you make projects that are fit to the kids that you have, they'll enjoy the projects more. Don't just give them like any basic project that any kid could do, because that's not going to help that student learn. And then I would also say, if it's a group project, don't just put, oh, this person with this person. Think about the knowledge levels. If this person's struggling in this class, put that person with the person who's exceeding in that class. That person can teach the other person. And then I would say, make the teachers teach the class instead of, make the students teach the class instead of you.
Something I think that would help a lot of teachers like make projects more exciting would be like, not only, because a lot of teachers do projects that are kind of like just based off of like learning and learning and learning, but some teachers, well, which is like the main point, yeah, but there's like activities you can do where like you can have fun at the same time and learning, because there was like a simulation that Ms. Patel did in middle school where we were like drawing things on a paper, but it was like all based off of history, and it was just like going back to how it used to be, and it helped us a lot because it was really fun. It was fun, but we still got something out of it and we learned from it.
Okay, the theme for this conference is igniting joy. And so how do you all think project-based learning can ignite joy for you and your learning in the classroom?
A way you could ignite joy to your project-based learning, you could make your projects based off of things you know your kids like. For example, in Ms. Patel's class, near the end of the year, we were learning about redlining, and we played Monopoly, but with different cards. So we would pull out a card and it would be something about redlining, but you need to make projects that have things your kids like. Because don't make projects where it's like Madeline said, learning. Just make, you could do it by putting something fun in there. Because another thing she said was a project we learned when we had to draw and we had to make it perfectly. And we were learning about the was it the revolution? The what?
The Western Revolution.
Yeah. So we had to draw but make it perfect. And in these activities, you get to learn history, but you're also doing something fun, what the kids would like to do. Like you had to draw and make it perfect, but it was never good enough for her. So it was it was never good enough for her. But so it was fun because, and then she would have managers, and you could yell at your and you could yell at each other and make it fun for your students where they're doing something they enjoy, but also doing something where your kids will learn, because that's what you're teaching us, but make it fun so the kids don't get bored, because sometimes teachers, they just do things and they're boring, and that's what you don't want to do, because Ms. Patel never sits down. She's always running around her classroom.
You will catch Ms. Patel standing on a table sometimes.
A way to ignite joy for the students is when you have the projects, make sure the projects are really hands-on and the students really have something to do. Because a student like me, when we're doing a project and all we're doing is sitting down and taking notes and we're not really doing anything, even though it's a project. Oh, sorry. It's not really fun, and to give the students joy, you have to make sure they're hands-on and have something to do. Because when they got nothing to do, then that's when they start wandering off and get distracted. And that's why the students like to talk a lot.
I want to build on that question a little bit. This year, all of you did at least one exhibition of learning for your families. And 8th graders, you also presented your defenses of learning. How do you find joy in things like a defense that is really difficult and scary?
So when I was doing my defense, it was really boring because all we were doing was writing about ourselves, and I hate writing about myself because why? What? Anyways, yeah, I don't like writing about myself. So something that I looked forward to was presenting it to my parents because I knew that they would be proud of me for presenting who I am. And I shared a really big struggle I have, which is something that I wanted to share with my parents because they didn't know about it. So, yeah.
So this year I had an exhibition in Miss Erin's class where basically we had to choose like a country or like a region. I chose Pakistan, and we had to talk about immigration struggles. I mean, you guys should know there's a lot of struggles in immigration. There's a lot of problems that need to be solved. So we had to kind of make an immigration proposal, basically proposing to parents that came to the exhibition, saying why they should vote on our idea to make immigration better and why it was better than the other ideas that they have heard from other students. And that project was really challenging because you had to realize that people value different things. Maybe you value that this is a good thing because one thing, but some people might be looking at, oh, so what about our tax money? Everyone has like values that are more important to them. So when planning a proposal, you have to think about your audience and who you're presenting to because everyone has different things that are important to them. So you kind of have to learn how to write it in a way that like pleases everyone.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to share with the audience about projects or any advice you can give? Last bits of advice you would like to give this room full of teachers?
Okay, my last advice, sorry. I know I just talked, but my last advice would be to realize that, like, I know you guys have a lot of students, and it might be hard to remember every individual one because sometimes I can't even remember my peers, and you're teaching more of them. But it's important to kind of learn a student because everyone's a different type of learner. Some people learn better by when they hear stuff repeatedly. Some people learn better when they have notes. Some people learn better when there's hands-on projects. So I would just say that throughout the school year, have like a diverse amount of learning. Like have some projects where it's mostly about listening. So people who learn better by listening to things repeatedly, they can learn from that. Or like have hands-on projects so people who learn better hands-on have that opportunity to learn like that.
Yeah, so always take into consideration your students, always carefully plan all your activities and everything, and just make sure you have fun and make sure you're passionate about what you're doing because all that will always reflect back on your students. Like your teaching will always reflect on your students' behavior and how much effort they want to put into it. Because if you don't put like a good amount of effort, then your students aren't either. So, yeah.
All right, can we get one more round of applause for these amazing students?
You guys have a standing ovation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.